I think you'd be forgiven if you said, I'm struggling to keep up with West Ham this summer. I mean, my God, it has been a crazy transfer window, isn't it? It has been unbelievable. I mean, I don't think I've ever known anything like it. I mean, you consider the things. I mean, when you go back, it actually feels like it was so long ago that these things happened, because so much has, happened in the meantime between when the window started to where we are now. I mean, obviously, we're coming towards its conclusion, thank God, because I think we need a bit of a break. I think the season's actually going to give us a little bit of respite. But no, I mean, if you think back, we had Declan Rice's departure, Skamaka's left, we've had deals that have been hijacked, we've had coaches leaving. I mean, it's ridiculous. Harry Maguire coming and he's going and he's... honestly, I've really... It's been crazy transfer window. But it does appear, and I'm going to really make this very clear, I feel like I've got to put quite a big disclaimer in this video. It does appear, though, that we possibly could be coming to a really positive and exciting conclusion to the window with a double deal, it appears. Not necessarily a double deal, but, two players that we're very keen on getting from different football clubs. But I will make it very clear, though, that the situation just seems to be changing every 5 minutes. And I'm not just talking about this. I'm talking about in general, isn't it? It's been... Everything we seem to be, every time we're linked with a player, well, then we're not, then we are, then we're close. I mean, even when you look at Ward-Prowse, that was on, then it was off, and that was definitely off, and then it was on, and then he was here. It was crazy. So, yeah, I'm going to make it very clear. So this is 6:15 on Thursday. So I'm going to edit this and put it out. So it'll probably be out by about 7 o'clock. So all I want to say is that as I say this is as it stands at the moment. By the time this comes out, it could be well be changed and to be outdated. So, I mean, so much so, right, that when we do these videos, or when I do these videos especially, I tend to sort of think, right, I'm going to cover this subject, and I might say record 1 or 2 or even 3 videos in one go and then space them out for the next couple of days, just because you can do that. You can't with this transfer window. It's almost been like you have to just record and put the news out immediately as it happens, because it changes so fast. So... But, I'm not moaning, because, let's be honest, I was very, very optimistic at the beginning of this transfer window. I felt this was going to be very exciting. Steidten was going to make a positive impact. However, my mood did drop quite considerably when we lost out to Carlos Borges. I felt that we were sort of just sitting still. It felt like we weren't getting any deals done. We were doing our usual scattergun approach. However, it does feel now like the club are making some big strides to get the players in that we need. And let's be honest, the players that we're now being linked with and the players that appear to be getting close to signing are players that you feel that are really going to push West Ham on this season. So much so you actually start, I don't know about you, but I'm getting quite excited for the season. If, of course, these deals can happen. But, I mean, especially after the back of the Chelsea result as well, there is a bit of a feel-good factor around about West Ham at the moment. But, of course, that could all change very quickly. So let's go with where we are at the moment, which is pretty damn positive at the moment. We'll get back to the video in just a second, but I just wanted to let you know this video is actually sponsored by CIRCL, and specifically their game 5 Match Millions. I'm going to be honest with you, okay, that we're very picky about who we work with on the channel. For the West Ham Way, we are. And when they approached us to sponsor the channel, we said, well, okay, but I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll basically use your app for a couple of weeks just to make sure that we're happy with it. I've got to say, it's really good and very addictive, I'll warn you. Basically, the way it works is they pick 5 games for the weekend, Premier League football games, okay? And each game, you pick a number. You can do it either randomly, or you do a lucky dip, or you pick the numbers that you want. And the way it works is that it's numbers from 1 to 27, and basically the dial will spin depending on what happens in the game. So if there's a throw-in, it moves 2 places to the left. If there's a yellow card, it goes 4 to the right. And basically, wherever it ends at the end of the game, it'll land on a number. And if you get that number, then you win. So basically, you can win up to £1 million if you get all 5, okay? And the first, so if you match 1, you get your money back plus a couple of quid extra, blah, 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 blah. And basically, I think even if you match 3 numbers, you get 75 quid. So it's very, very good. And yeah, and basically all it is £2 a week to play. Now, if you click on the link below and type in West Ham Way, next weekend's games, you get absolutely free and get to give it a go. So why not just give it a go? Got nothing to lose. I've got to say, it's really, really good. And as I say, I've won already twice. It might be beginner's luck. It might well be beginner's luck, but I'm definitely going to carry on playing. But yeah, so click the link below, West Ham Way. Good luck. Mohammed Kudus is the main player at the moment that seems to be the big talking point that West Ham really want to get this deal concluded. Last night it broke yesterday, about sort of 8-9 o'clock time. It broke all over from sort of big sources. We're talking from ex-WH employee, of course, as well. You had Fabrizio Romano, all the Ornstein and everybody all reporting that basically the deal was very close with Ajax and that West Ham had basically agreed personal terms with the player. All these things that indicate that the player was about to sign, was very close to signing for West Ham, which is very, very good. But where we are at the moment, so these are the facts as it stands for now. I will say that as I've started recording this 20 minutes ago, the team was announced for Ajax's match tonight in the Europa League qualifier, and Kudus is starting that match. So I'm not suggesting that that's a negative for West Ham. I think it kind of makes sense from Ajax's perspective because it's a really important game for them. They want obviously to qualify, so you understand you want the best players to play. But let's make no mistake, it doesn't look great for us because, of course, one, it's a big risk because if he gets injured, and two, it kind of indicates the deal's not as close as possibly that it's been screamed about. I'm not saying it's not close because it is apparently very close, but yeah, there's obviously West Ham have obviously not got a firm enough grip on the situation in terms of saying that like you're not to play him because we're about to sign him. So that's where we are. So he is going to be playing tonight, and let's just keep our fingers crossed. One, that he does all right, and two, he doesn't get injured. So at the moment, the deal appears to be, this is the information we've got. It's a £38 million package with Ajax. It's been, it's very close to being agreed. Personal terms are deemed to be no issue. By the way, this is all from XWH employee. And yeah, it's basically, at the moment he's away in Bulgaria. As I've said, he's about to play this game. It's understood that a deal is very close, though. I mean, it's from what we understand, if a deal is going to happen, it'll be concluded probably this weekend. So he's not going to feature in our match, which is totally understandable. I don't think any fan really expected him to, but that's where we are with it. There is a few spanners in the works with it, though, of course, and of course there would be. It appears now there are interested parties elsewhere. There's a couple of Premier League clubs that are interested. Chelsea and Arsenal apparently rumoured to be those clubs. I think we've had that anyway. I think they've always been quite keen on the player, so I don't think there's anything really new. There's reports that are coming out, whether how true this or not this is. X hasn't confirmed this yet. That Chelsea, made an approach for Kudus with Ajax, but the player's keen on West Ham. That's what we're hearing. Well, how true exactly that is, who knows? But that's what we're hearing. The other spanner is Saudi Arabian clubs that are coming in, apparently are interested. Of course, they can offer a lot more in terms of wages, etc., etc. But you'd like to think with his age and ambitions, you'd hope as a player of his quality, and as I say, of course, in his age as well, that you think he would want to come to the Premier League and advance that. I don't like the Saudi thing. I really don't. I get it. I understand why. I'm not going to go to the nation for doing it. Why wouldn't they? They're unbelievably wealthy and they want to compete. I get it, but it's sad, isn't it, when you're seeing some of these players that are going that you think, wow, you know what I mean? You're in a great stage of your career and you don't need to be really just looking for the pound notes. But so let's just hope that Kudus isn't that sort of player. I personally, I'm not really getting too caught up in all that. I think that there's always been interest there. From what we're hearing, the deal was very close to West Ham. Let's just keep it on that positive note. It's an interesting light how this has come about actually with Kudus, because everyone's obviously saying it's a Tim Steidten appointment. This is a Tim Steidten thing, and let's not make no mistake about this. Having Steidten in the club appears to be having a really positive impact, especially in terms of our player recruitment. But apparently, what X has reported is that actually Mark Noble was the sort of the lead on this. Mark Noble was the one that actually brought Kudus to David Moyes' attention prior to Steidten arriving. So he's obviously got the tick from Noble, apparently got the tick from Moyes, and in turn then got the tick from Steidten. So it's all round, and everyone wants to bring this player in. I think which just shows you the quality, and also what shows you the quality is the teams that are being linked. I mean, if a player, Arsenal and Chelsea are very keen on a player, that they're obviously a pretty good player. So let's be honest, this is an exciting capture if we can get it over the line, but at the moment, things are looking pretty positive, but we'll obviously, as I've said, as I'm recording this, it's looking positive at the moment, but let's just wait and see how it pans out. And from what X's last report on it, the West Ham are hopeful that they can get the deal agreed and confirmed, wrapped up and done this weekend. So, let's be honest, this is if West Ham can pull this off, and we've got the likes of Kudus, Paqueta, Bowen in our squads, then let's be honest, we're looking pretty good, aren't we? We're going into this season in pretty decent shape. I mean, I was impressed with our new signings in the Chelsea game. For Ward-Prowse is really, really good. Obviously, there's I wouldn't call it a cameo, but Alvarez came on obviously for the last 20 minutes or so and looked very good as well. So if we can add these sort of players as well that we're talking about, and Kudus obviously, then this is pretty exciting. And the next player, a player that we just continually seem to be getting linked with every summer and every January, all the time. En-Nesyri from Sevilla. So this is a really interesting one because every time we've been linked with En-Nesyri, we've known that he's very well liked by David Moyes. David Moyes, he is a kind of Moyes player, isn't he? He's quick. He likes to run the channels, get stuck in. I think he would suit the system very well, actually. And he's a very good finisher. Let's be honest, he's a very good player. Tottenham also very rumored to be very interested in the player. Now, there seems to be a shift this time round. The shift seems to be a big key reason is Sevilla are having financial difficulties. They need to sell players. So that's one thing. If you remember, I believe that when we were last very much interested in bringing the player in, he was keen. I wouldn't say he was keen to come, but I think the Sevilla were quite keen to do a deal because of the financial situation, but because they were struggling at the time, he wanted to remain to help them out. So he really loves Sevilla, and I think sometimes actually that's a good trait. Let's be honest, that's not a bad thing to see in a player that is loyal to his club and wants to help them and wants to stay. Of course, they've got Champions League football as well, which is very attractive. But what we understand at the moment from XWH employee is the talks are ongoing for En-Nesyri. And there is confidence. I think there seems to be confidence that something could happen there. Sevilla's finances are a big thing in this. Of course, you've got to bear in mind as well, you've got Naif Agurd at West Ham, who's a Moroccan international, much like En-Nesyri. Also knows him very well. You'd like to think that will probably help the situation, having someone that he knows and hopefully is giving a good message about coming to the club. I mean, you look at... we don't know Agurd, obviously, and how happy he actually is, but he doesn't appear to be unhappy as a player. He seems to be quite settled and doing well, really. Obviously, a red card aside from that, but he seems to be doing well. Now, the interesting thing with this is that West Ham are apparently quite reluctant at the moment to sign him outright. And not to say that we won't, but I think we would prefer to do a loan with an option to buy. Apparently, the reason behind that is because, and I can't really... This is really interesting. I can't say, I can't really blame the club. I can blame the club because this is kind of their fault in a way. But they feel like they've had their fingers burnt quite a few times with strikers. And let's be honest, we bloody have. But let's be honest as well, it's not down to the players. It's really been down to our poor recruitment. We're not getting the right type of player in. But because we've obviously expended lots of money before on Hilaire, on Scamacca, and it hasn't worked out, I think the club are a little bit reluctant to spend big again on a striker, and it might not work out. So the aim is, I think, to try and get an agreement with Sevilla to do a loan with an option to buy. The thing is with that, of course, for a club that's got financial difficulties, I can't see that being that attractive to them. I just don't. Why would they entertain that? Unless, of course, you could offer them a decent loan fee for the season. And then maybe do an obligation to buy if the player plays, 25 games or more or something. I don't know. But I think the talks are ongoing, and it appears that that's actually quite positive. From what we understand it from X's update, is that West Ham are really focused on trying to get the Kudus deal over the line. That's the one they desperately want to get done. And then they will switch their attention more to En-Nesyri. But that's not to say that they're not talking with En-Nesyri at the moment. But I think the priority at the moment is Kudus. And you kind of understand that in a way. So... Look, as I've said, this has been a bloody crazy transfer window, really hard. I mean, even for myself, who does obviously this content on the channel, but also I do stuff for the website. So I had to liaise with X every day, every morning about the news and what's going on. And I've got to be honest, I'm actually finding it difficult to keep up with. It almost feels like every time you look at your phone, every time you don't do something, there's just a complete change. So... as I record this, it's almost like I'm excited because, especially with Kudus, I've got to be honest. I mean, that's a signing that I'm really, really keen to see over the line. I'm sure. I can't imagine there's any West Ham fans that wouldn't be keen to see that happen. But as much as you keep getting the good news, and even from X, who's so reliable, saying, look, the deal's close, it's looking really good. It's hard, isn't it, to get too excited because just how much things change. And even when I was coming to do this video, I was looking at, I just did a quick check on Twitter, etc., see what the news was. And already then it's like, Saudi Arabia are saying the club is involved, and Sky Sports have now come out and went, it's 50-50 now and all this. And you think, by the time before I got on the bus, that was never happening. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's really crazy. So look, let's just keep our fingers crossed that the deal happens. I'm pretty confident, I'll be honest. I do think that there is some... the fact is that we're hearing such confident news from big sources that are saying that the deal is close. West Ham are going all out. The player wants to move and the personal terms are there, and et cetera, et cetera. You do feel that it would take something quite drastic now to cancel this. But, of course, He is about to play. He's playing in half an hour's time, in fact. So for Ajax, of course, in the Europa Conference League in Bulgaria, isn't it? Where he is. So let's just hope that nothing happens in terms of injuries, and let's just hope that that doesn't have a negative impact. That's not a sign that things are going pear-shaped for the deal. I don't think they are. As I say, I think more so that it's probably to do with the fact Ajax just want to win this game. They want their best players, which you can understand. Look, there's still a way to go in this window. Still a way to go. I know it's only a week, whatever it is, but it is. You do get the feeling that there's still more twists and turns to come in this transfer window. But let's be honest, as it stands right now, from once where it was looking very good and then looking very dire, it looks as though we could be ending in a very good and very exciting conclusion.